people might still be having regular cycles, although, if you're a part of the MENOprepper gang, like I am, Crystal, I think you're in there too, girl.
I
So we're
know.
preparing for the menopausal transition, but we might still have regular cycles, or some younger women listening to this, who might be experiencing, because of some of the fluctuations in their cycle, differences in their skin every week. So for people who are having that cycle change and they're noticing that their products don't work the same each week or every 2 weeks, wherever the case may be, what would you recommend? I'm going to say go see Crystal, but what would you recommend for
Correct.
those who see that their products are not working the same?
Start omitting, definitely.
Mm,
Fi- Start. You don't want to just dump everything because your skin doesn't like that either. So you don't want to just dump everything and then get a whole new routine, which I find a lot of women do.
mm,
I did spend some time, I worked at Sephora, I worked at Ulta, I did those jobs. So a lot of women would come in and they're like, oh, nothing is working, so I want all new stuff. No, you need to incorporate one thing. Again, I will always start with a new serum, figuring out again the root cause of it. That's number
mhm,
one. Okay, my dryness. The biggest change I feel that has changes my clients and myself is supplement use. It has to be strategic. So that's why blood work is so
mhm,
important. Sitting down with someone who can break it down to you,
mhm,
show your levels. Because just if you're taking, because also too, supplements don't just work by themselves. So for instance, you're low on iron, you're losing your hair. If you just take a iron pill but you're not supplementing also with vitamin C, it's not absorbing
mhm,
correctly. Same
mhm,
thing right now, everyone's on this turmeric and ginger. That's
mhm.
great, but if you're not taking it with some pepper, it's not
Not
absorbing. It's just
exactly.
sitting there. Same thing with magnesium. I love magnesium. I feel like of all the supplementations that have completely done a 180 on my skin, it's been magnesium.
Mhm.
And I fully tell people to, that's something we need to look into. Let's start looking at that. But even with magnesium, if you take it with iron, it's not going to absorb.
Yeah,
So
they stick
it's
together, guys.
yes. So you have to do the back, you have to do the deep work.
Mhm.
And that's where people like myself come into play because I've already done it for you. So I'm here to help
Yeah.
you and guide you. I don't diagnose anything. I don't tell you this is what you have. I'm here to guide you to find your root cause to get you in the direction of where you need to go or where you want to go. So that's really when someone is coming to me and they're like, none of this is working. Okay, take out your serum. Let's try a new one. See
Mm.
if this skin is trial and error. And I feel that that's one of the biggest, especially with the younger generation, because they want instant gratification.
Yeah.
They want to come in with acne and leave with glass skin in one treatment. It is
Mhm.
impossible and it's never going to happen. And when you tell them that, unfortunately, they don't believe it. They just feel like, oh well, I follow so and so on TikTok, and
And theirs is great.
she uses
Mhm.
beef tallow and it works for her. And, so I need to use beef tallow too. No, you don't. That's
Mhm.
that person. If that's what she feels works for her, that's fine. But
Mhm.
you are different and your pores are different. So I always try to have them omit one thing and then go from there. Now, once you've been using that for a month, then get a new cleanser. Now you
Mm.
can switch that up because your skin again needs time to adapt.
I love that. I love that too. Because in regards to like hormone management, I typically recommend tracking your symptoms, put it on a calendar, write it down old school, or put it in your phone and seeing what those patterns are. So you can also include what products work great for you during that time frame, and then you can put down when it doesn't work great. And if you're knowing where you are in your cycle because you're tracking that information, now you have data points to see that pattern, to see what is working, what's not working. So as you shift things, and I typically recommend people do things for 3 cycles if you can. Skincare is going to be different because you mentioned it can change within a month. The
Mhm.
see the benefit. So track your symptoms, write it down, and then we can see what the pattern is because it's going to yell at you. Your body's
Mhm.
telling you what's happening.
Because a
Okay.
lot of women don't realize too, your skin is directly related to your cycle. So, depending on what phase you're in your cycle, your skin is going to look different. So, it's going to need different things from your skincare. So, for instance, when I'm breaking out, that's I use one serum during that time. But when my skin is great and I'm not breaking out, you don't want to continue using an acne serum. You want to switch to a different type of serum because your skin is at a different stage during those few weeks. So really it's all about digging in deeper and seeing
Mhm.
how the hormone connection is, bridging the gap for yourself.
Yes. Let me break down the
So
cycle. If anyone is not super familiar, for women's hormonal cycle, it's typically 28, 34 days, 21 days. It's somewhere around a month time frame. So that's going to be particular to you.
Mhm.
And it starts the
Same for
first
your
day
skin.
that you bleed. Exactly. And
Mhm.
so that first day that you bleed is menses. That's your when you're bleeding, and that time frame can differ, but your hormones are at their lowest level, specifically your estrogen and progesterone on days 3, from when you start bleeding, 3 to 5. But then once you're going through menses, you're going to the follicular phase, which is really that whole phase. But your estrogen is going to start rising, and so like we mentioned, estrogen helps with the skin thickness. It helps with moisture. It's when skin kind of feels its best, it's plumper. You're going to see that in your follicular phase, and that can last for from like day 6 to like 13. And so we do start to see some improvements where it might have been dry while you were bleeding. And then once you get into your ovulation, which can last a couple of days, it's a very short-lived time frame, but estrogen is at its peak at this point, and that's where we see our peak glow, the inner glow lab, right? That's our
Mhm.
inner glow. It's going to be noticeable. And you might say, "Oh, your skin looks so good. Well, what did you do different?" And it's just like, "Girl, my hormones are peaking." Like,
Mhm.
that's all I did. But then after that, the last half of your cycle, which is typically about 14 days, is your luteal phase. And here, progesterone should be dominant. And as progesterone is rising, we get more oiliness in the skin. That's where we get more sensitivity in the skin as well. We might see more inflammation, and those are the responses that we see with like breakouts. And like you mentioned, maybe more acne is coming about. So you're going to change what you're using in regards to your products, especially the week before your period. Because although there's a pretty map that says your hormones are going like this, they're really going like this, and
Mhm.
then you go into a hormone withdrawal at the end of your luteal phase, and then you bleed again, and it starts all the way over. And so knowing where you are in your cycle will help you to understanding what your hormones are doing will help you understand why your skin is presenting the way that it is. I hope that made sense.
Yes,
Pause
it
it
did.
and rewind, y'all, if it didn't. So you can hear it. Okay. Now we've talked about skin, and a part of what I see in clinic, or even what I've experienced myself when I got into my 30s, are whiskers.
Mhm.
And so increased facial hair, I do see that as a complaint for a lot of my menopausal women, and also women who have something called like PCOS, who have an
Yes.
imbalance in their testosterone to estrogen, and they have something called hirsutism, which is excess growth in areas for women that we don't typically grow hair. So facial hair, hair around the body, and it's hormone related. Okay. So what's something that you do for those patients? Because you mentioned that you have you can do laser therapy too. Is
So
that a part
I
of it or
yeah,
is it
well,
different?
I am a laser technician. However, we do not offer laser at currently at the studio.
Got it.
So what I do is I'm actually developing a new method. It's called the Rose Zenith,
Okay.
and it is the Rose Zenith method, and it is a 12-week comprehensive program that I would sit down with you. Again, it starts with a consultation. We build your program. If you live within the city, I can see you for services, but if not, I can teach you how to do it, remotely.
Mm,
So that is pretty much how I would do it within the structure of the clinic. At home, though, when you're dealing with those hormone fluctuations, really, I'd like everyone to start with their gut health and accessing are you taking probiotics? Do you need probiotics? Do you have a lot of candida? Noticing a lot of white under tongue, things like that, kind of lets me know that you have an overgrowth of bad bacteria, which again has an effect because your hormones love that. They're like, "Ooh, food. Yay, let's go
mhm,
crazy." So everything I find, gut, stress, skin, it's all connected. So you want to focus on also your nervous system. Are
mhm,
you stressed out? Because that can spike your cortisol. And if your cortisol is spiked, you can get a facial every 2 weeks. And you're not going to see much overall change as far as glow. Your
mhm,
lines may be softened, your crow's feet may be diminished, but you're not going to have that radiance that you're really looking for,
mm,
because you're stressed and your cortisol is so high. So yeah, so those are the things that I try to focus on within that 3-month program,
okay.
and encompass all of that, and that will be launching in May.
Good. I did
Yeah.
put your QR code up there. I'm gonna throw it up one more time. So
Hmm.
if anyone's listening, they can scan that QR code that goes to your website, and so they can look to see what it is that you offer. They can be on the lookout for Rosina.
Yes.
Got it, coming out in
Hmm.
May, and then also connect with you for services. So scan that QR code. But I'm glad
Yes.
you kind of go
I
ahead.
always recommend starting with the consultation. It's
Hmm.
free, doesn't hurt nobody. I can do that virtually, or I could do it in studio if you are local. This would just help you dig in. Sometimes it's not even skincare related, it's strictly lifestyle. And sometimes
Hmm.
you just, need someone to talk and kind of help you figure that out. And we go from there. In studio, I do also have other services like chemical peels that we can dig into. So we don't have laser, but we have chemical peels, microneedling, and I have my hydro glow facial, which is by far my favorite. And that is the one that I promote the most. It's a facial you only need once every 4 to 6 weeks. It's a
Mm,
complete resurfacing and deep cleansing of the skin. So that way, when you go home, you have a beautiful canvas that you can actually start absorbing. So just like how your vitamin D doesn't absorb without vitamin K, your skin is not going to absorb your skincare with that top layer of dirt
mm,
and sebum on there.
okay. Let me drop that one more time so y'all can go ahead and scan that QR code. I love it. One more thing I want to talk about for the skin itself, that I do see, especially for women of color, in regards to hormonal fluctuations, is something called melasma. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure if clients have been coming to you about that, but let me just give a little bit of a breakdown on what that actually is. And then I want to see what it is that you recommend. I think I know, but we're going to see. But essentially, melasma is dark patches. It can
Mhm.
be in different parts, but especially on the face. So the forehead, the cheeks, um, the lips, and it's highly sensitive to hormone fluctuations. And what's happening is your estrogen and progesterone are impacting your melanocytes, which are your pigment producing cells. So if you already have melanin, you have high pigment producing cells. And when your hormones fluctuate, those cells are going to change how much pigment they're producing. Um, so I do see it in women who 40s going through perimenopause and they're like, I have brown or dark spots on my cheeks, or
Mhm.
skin
Or
to
like your
start to
upper
turn.
lip, I get it from
Yes,
here.
yes,
Yeah, it's a hormone response.
it's a hormone
Mhm.
response. Is that
And you
something? Go ahead.
you so I actually dealt a lot more of that when I was back in my laser tech days, because heat actually is your enemy when you have
Yeah,
melasma.
don't.
You
Yeah,
don't want to be in the sun. A lot of people think like, oh, well, let me get a tan and maybe it'll fade it. No, you're actually going to make that area darker.
darker.
It's a hormonal response, and it's also your skin. A lot of people don't know that melanin actually is your skin's natural response to injury. So
Mhm.
that's why when you get cut and it's healing, it gets darker. When you get acne and it's healing, it gets darker. That's that post inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And melasma is something where that pigmentation is stuck under there. It's stuck
Mm,
in between a layer of your dermis. Again, your skin pushes out every 28 days. So when you're shedding on the inside, you're also shedding on the outside. And he at the studio, chemical peels are one of the best treatments I found because I can tailor it where there's not so much heat sensation that it's
mm,
actually gently exfoliating. I use a combination. I do have a protocol that's a combination of a chemical peel and also light therapy. So green and
okay.
yellow light does help pause pretty much that melanin from overgrowth and getting trapped in between those skin. You need a lot of people don't believe in light therapy, but it does work. But it has to be the right wavelength and the right
Mm,
color in
mhm,
order for it to penetrate into that dermis and help break up that melasma. You also need to get your hormones checked and see because you want that to find that imbalance,
mhm,
um, because you may need to get on some type of hormone suppressant or something like magnesium, to help just regulate you so that way while you're doing these treatments and you're suppressing and trying to blend your skin tones together, the it's working from the inside out.
mm. Okay, that's good. And you got a protocol. I love that.
Mhm.
I love a
Yeah.
protocol. And and I'll say I'm focused on midlife women, but this happens in pregnancy as well, where we
Hmm.
get melasma happening in
And
pregnancy
I
too.
find that when you go to the doctors, they want to put you on hydroquinone, which is
Mhm,
so bad for us of color because a lot of people don't know, but it can actually reverse. And
mhm.
now instead of you
Lighter.
having dark patches, you have light patches. And it because hydroquinone, it's something that I'm not totally against. I prefer more natural alternatives, and I do have serums that I use with my brand, and lotions that they're natural alternatives. However, if you are going to use hydroquinone, you need to make sure that you are using it for a short term, no more than I want to say 3 to 4 weeks. You have to give your skin a break because it will reverse itself and you're actually going to just create more harm. Because again, it is an exfoliant, it's
Mhm,
gonna help slough off that skin, and it does have a mild bleaching. So
mhm,
someone as yourself, you're gonna have a different reaction to it than someone of my skin tone,
mhm.
or lighter. So but they're just so quick to give
They
everyone the
do.
same medication and the same dosage as well because there's also different levels to it. You
Mhm.
don't need to go w-
Full.
full on. And it's the same thing I find with like retinol and Tret. They're
Mhm,
doing 1% and it's the same thing. You can't do that. You're disrupting your barrier and you're creating more harm than good.
mm. 'Cause it's not a one size fits all. It's
No,
really
no,
not.
ma'am.
And everyone's skin, whether it's the tone, complexion, the oiliness, the dryness, all of it is different. So it is
Mhm.
going to be very patient specific. All right, let's get to the guts because we've been teasing the gut a little bit here, and I'll talk about what
Yes.
cortisol is a little bit. And it's a kind of all the craze. I get messages all the time where patients are like, "Oh, my cortisol's high," and I'm like, "Well, girl, how do you know this?" So, let's talk about what cortisol is. It's a stress hormone, and it's good when it's happening when we need it. Right? Cortisol helps us wake up in the morning. Cortisol makes
Yeah.
sure we run if there's a lion. But if
Yes, that
your
fight or
cortisol
flight.
fight or flight, but when it's elevated, because we have chronic stress, and a
Yeah.
lot of us do have chronic stress because of society, um,
The world.
that the world, yes, it triggers inflammation, and it triggers it throughout the body, including the skin. And so, high cortisol it signals oil glands. Is that correct? Like to produce
Mhm,
more oil in the skin or sebum. And
mhm.
that's where we get some breakouts from that too. It also weakens the skin,
It even makes
especially
your
that
heart beat faster.
because
So
it brings in
so
norepinephrine.
if you're someone who's even struggling with high cholesterol and you're bringing in your high stress hormone that's making you're going to be struggling, especially with your skin, and you're going to produce
Yeah,
more oil, more
yeah.
hormones. You're going to, and then that is also a breeding ground for hair follicles. So that's
Hmm.
where you start seeing those little whiskers and all of that. Sometimes it is a response, your skin's response to keeping you regulated. And same way how if we get super super hot, our body's natural response is to keep our insides cool.
Hmm.
We have our body as a natural healer. It finds a way to heal itself, but sometimes the way that it heals itself, it will turn up as melasma, as hair on the area, acne, things like that. So learning how to find that root cause and getting into the gut, which a lot of it is also diet, you know.
Hmm.
If you're have high cortisol and you're eating nothing but McDonald's and pizza and all of these high carby things, it's you're just feeding it, and you're going to continue to see that pattern of sluggish skin, bloated bodies,
Hmm.
and a lot of water retention.
Yep, difficulty sleeping, a lot of agitation,
Hmm.
anxiety, all of those things.
Hmm. The biggest is
And
inflammation.
across the board. If
Hmm.
it, not just your skin, diabetes, hypertension, all of
Yep,
these things, high cholesterol,
it's all
it's
inflammation.
inflammation. It's inflammation in the body because things are imbalanced,
Yes.
very imbalanced. And another hormone that comes into play too is your thyroid hormone because that also is going to impact your skin, your nails. Skin gets drier, flakier, you get puffy, and so
Hmm.
those are, and your typical moisturizers, those things, they don't help anymore. So those are things where it's like, okay, this has been helping, now it's not. And you also have other issues with thyroid that might present to, like, changes in how well you can tolerate heat, or you're
Hmm.
gaining weight, your hair is falling out. Um, those are other telltale signs that there's issues with your thyroids. But the ultimate picture here is that your hormones, your inner process, is going to impact your outer glow. And so being able to understand where you're sitting with those is going to be key if you're looking to really help that glow with your skin. And it's not just this skin,
Oh yeah, it's all
because
over.
it's your entire body. And one thing we don't talk about for women in the menopausal transition is your vaginal tissue changes, because that is skin too. And just like your facial
Hmm.
skin gets dry, that skin gets dry as well. And so we can help. I love a good vaginal moisturizer or estrogen cream, which will be a prescription.
Hmm.
Um, but you are what you eat.
Mhm. It
You
is so
are.
true. And that's something that I've struggled for many years with my daughter because she is a type 1 diabetic. She's been type 1 since she was 3. So her skin is naturally it's become a lot drier throughout the
Mhm,
years, but she still has acne. And she does have Hashimoto's because of her diabetes. It's all connected.
mhm,
So with and for those who don't know, Hashimoto's is a thyroid disorder, and it's kind of like the beginning But it is have to do with her endocrine, which again has to do with her diabetes. So it's all connected, and it was only a matter of time. But with that, we have been able to get her skin in a better place, able
Good.
to adjust her acne, with really just digging into her gut health and
Mhm.
keeping her cortisol down. She's finally been able to lose some weight, which we are
Oh,
so happy
good.
about because she's been
Mhm.
struggling that for a while. She's 20 now, so she's a young adult. She's living her life, and at that age, they don't think about what they're
No.
eating, and
They
to
don't
be
have to.
young, to be young, when
It's
when
gonna
you
show up
out
in 20 years.
exactly. But she looks at me and she's like, "Okay, you're 40, you don't have any crow's feet. I don't have many lines," and it's because at her age I started with those things. I've been taking antioxidants for years
Mm,
because that is what really my favorite is hibiscus. And that is going to whether it be hibiscus capsules or tea. I love hibiscus tea. It's something that is going to help regulate you on the inside, um, and you see that glow on the outside. But it's making sure that you're keeping down that inflammation
mhm.
and all of that cortisol and everything else that, is going on the inside you don't see.
Yes. Yeah. We have hammered in hormones and gut health, and you are what you eat. So I want to kind of get to some of the fun things and look
Mhm.
through like some of the skincare myths and some of like to dispel some myths or say, hey, yeah, this is actually true. This is actually real. So, what are some popular skincare trends that you have seen or that you wish women would stop doing, like yesterday?
So things that I'm loving is anything barrier repair right now. Focus
Okay.
on your barrier. Anything that peptides, collagen, those type of things, ceramides. Oh, they're so good. Even myself, I am an oily girl through and through. Like I'm not combination, I'm oily.
Mhm.
And I use an oil cleanser. I've stood away from those things. You want that slip. You want to keep to your products to be emollient and to really soften up that layer of skin, whether it be on your body, because it's not just your face. Even the stuff on your body, I find a lot of people they have back acne,
Mhm.
or back hyperpigmentation, and they're scrubbing it daily, and they're not moisturizing, they're not adding, or they're putting baby powder. I know our
Oh
grandmothers
Lord.
taught us that. I know they did, but
No.
please stop. It's that baby powder is drying you out, girl. It is,
Mhm.
and it's creating more harm than good. And then, your skin, even on your back, on your feet, on your legs, you have pores. So it's absorbing anything you put on it. You're putting on these great smelling lotions from Bath and Body Works, but your skin is absorbing that and it's going into your body.
Yeah.
And just same way you're eating, it's just like you're eating it. So that's where I do love now, where I feel like society is that we're trending more towards the wellness realm. I think COVID had a huge impact on that. That was one of the good things that came out of it, that everyone started looking at their health, what they're
Mhm.
eating,
Yeah.
their lifestyle. Are they exercising? Are they getting that 30 minutes in a day, the 10K steps, all of those things? They all work hand in hand. So that I love that we're doing the research, but what I really need everyone to start doing is the action behind it.
Mm.
Knowing is only half the battle. So when you're in these stores and you're looking for, something, start with something that is going to repair your barrier. That's where everyone needs to begin. And then you can go see a professional in your area or myself to help you really target the the things that are ailing you, whether it be anti-aging, the loss of your glow, the deep wrinkles, maybe some smile lines, or, even for myself, for a long time, I got rid of my acne, but I had all this texture and I had all my
Mm.
scarring. So getting rid of that, but it all starts with barrier repair.
Barrier repair. Write that down, y'all. Barrier. I mean, I got some notes over here. So, but barrier repair. Okay. Um, what's one thing that you wish everyone knew before they walk into your treatment room?
You are worthy. You're worthy of good skin. You're worthy of everything that you are looking for. You it's not something that happened to you, and it's not something that we can't fix. Everything can be fixed. So I try to keep it very relaxing. A lot of my clientele are either single moms or just moms in general, or busy business women. So when you're stepping into my clinic, that is sometimes the only hour out the day that you get to just let it go. In my clinic, you're not a mom, you're not a businesswoman, you are you. You
Hmm.
are Jess, you are Crystal, you are, Monique. You are That's who you are, and that's who we're going to focus on today. And when you step in, I want you to feel at home. So I have my grandmother's couch. I literally took it out her house. It is there because when you're here, you're family. And we sit down and I just talk, because through that talking, you'll discover so much. Because again, I'm just guiding you to where you need to go. I'm not here to diagnose you or to shame you or to tell you, of course, I may think it, homegirl needs to stop this,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
and I can see the root cause of it. But I need you to see it, because me telling you again, that's not going to make you put the action behind it. So I want you to feel comfortable in that and understand that you are worthy. You're worthy of everything that you want.
Mm, you are worthy. I love it.
Mhm.
And you are. You are. That
Mhm.
we're coming down to the end, and I loved everything that you have mentioned in regards to skincare, um, even just self love and understanding that you're worthy of doing something for yourself, but not punishing yourself for what your body is doing on the inside, but
Mhm.
supporting it and giving it what it needs so that it can show up on the outside. Um, and
Yeah,
so
so many
at
women are like ashamed to do that. They feel,
Mhm.
especially moms. Oh, they look at it and it's like, oh, it's this much for the facial. I could spend it on the kids, and it's like, yes, but you can't pour from an empty cup.
You
You need to
cannot.
pour in. You got to pour into yourself, and you are worthy. And if there is something about you that you are unhappy with, change it.
Mhm. Yeah, I had a patient yesterday, and I said, she has a 3-year-old little boy, and she's so her that's surrounding her entire world, right? Mom,
Hmm.
wife, career. She's a nurse, and I told her, okay, yes, we're going to prescribe hormones today, but I'm also prescribing you that you do one thing for you
Yes.
each week until we follow up. And I want you to write it down, and we're going to talk about what you did for yourself. Because women take care of the world, but we don't
Hmm.
take care of ourselves. And
Yes,
so that
ma'am.
we can start with our skin, but it's starting with our mindset. We, just
Mhm.
like you mentioned, we're definitely worthy. So
There.
I think that's a great closing
Yeah.
thought to leave the listeners with. I'm put your QR code here, but I will give you some final words, and I'll also add in. Um, Let me go ahead and make sure people are able to follow you, but
Mhm.
show that for everybody. For Instagram, you can find Chrissy or Crystal on Instagram listed across the board, or the ticker. And then I'll put my information out there as well, because a lot of the things that you mentioned, like drawing labs, interpreting labs, supplements from a pharmaceutical grade reputable supplement company, those are all things that I offer, as well as helping you to understand what your hormones are doing, and how it's going to cause you to show up to the world, or how you can talk to your providers. Those are all things that I do too, because it is
Mhm.
education focused. And we did not have this disclaimer in the beginning, but all the things that we talked about today, this is education. So you don't have to go and change anything, but I would like for you to talk to your provider or have a consultation set up with Chrissy so that you talk to a professional before you go and make any changes in your particular medication, supplements, but skincare, maybe stop buying some of those over the counter things. But words of wisdom as a woman in her midlife range, as part of the MENOprepper Gang, are your three top words of wisdom that you would provide to the listeners before we close?
Life doesn't end in your 20s. It just doesn't. And I think that's number one, pretty much. I feel that I am a testament to that. And that is one of my purposes, to show you all that life does not end in your 20s. And even with all the changes that are happening to you internally, externally, life goes on. And we're here to support you through it all.
Hmm. And I thought it did end in your 20s, and it doesn't.
I know.
We're living
Everyone's like,
proof.
"Oh my god, I'm gonna be 30," and it's like, "Baby, wait till you get 40." And then my
Yes,
mom is
it gets
like, "Wait till you
better.
get 50." It gets
Well,
better.
it does.
It does, and especially if you put the work in now, ah, it's
It's
gonna
so
be a
much better
breeze
later.
later. Yes, it's so much better. You care less.
Oof,
I think that's my
baby.
favorite part. I
Yeah, I
think that's
love
my
that part.
favorite. Yes, because you care so much less, and you finally start living for you, and that's what I'm here for. So many that used to be me. I used to hide. I used to avoid engagements with my friends, and not go out. You need to live,
Mhm.
and be confident, and you're worthy.
Yes, you are worthy. Well, y'all, if this episode hit home, please share it with a woman who needs to hear the information that was shared today. Even if you just share this last clip so that she knows, just like Chrissy said, that you are worthy. Go ahead, make sure that you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Reset with Dr. Jess. Please follow us as well on Instagram. We will show that again for you guys. But better yet, reach out and connect with Chrissy here for Row and Arrow Co. If you're looking for a skincare evaluation, or really to connect, if you connected with what she stated today and you want to have a team player in your life like her and the services she provides, scan that QR code that's listed there and connect with her. And if you're looking for a hormone strategist, clinical pharmacist that can help guide you through the menopausal transition or provide you education on what your hormones are doing, what supplements you should or shouldn't take, what are your labs saying, how do I talk to my doctor, girl, what's happening to me, we can have that conversation. Scan that QR code, hop on my Calendly. Again, we both have free consultations in the beginning, so we can definitely just have a quick chat and let's see how we can work together. But again, Chrissy, Crystal, thank you so much for your expertise as our holistic esthetician. We appreciate you for being here, and we will see you guys on the next episode.
Yes, thanks for having me. Have a good one.